So today I'm going to be doing a character analysis of Tori Vega and Alex Russo. And just a disclaimer, this is not me trying to pit two women against each other because I strongly do not believe in that. This is simply me trying to understand why both of these characters are perceived in such strong ways by the general public. Okay, first up we're going to start with Alex Russo. Now, Alex Russo is the star of Wizards of Waverly Place, and the show basically depicts her as this rebellious teenage girl who's sarcastic and mean, manipulative, and she's also lazy, and pretty much the show tries to depict her as unlikable as possible. Meanwhile, Tori Vega, who is the star of Victorious, is pretty much portrayed as this girl next door type who gets thrust into this whimsical world of Hollywood Arts High School, and she's basically like the underdog, and we as an audience have to root for her and watch her become victorious. Now, even though they tried to make Alex as unlikable as possible and Tori as likable as possible, how come the general public adores Alex Russo and despises Tori Vega? Like, if you look on YouTube, you will find multiple videos with millions of views talking about how Alex is a relatable queen and she's the best and iconic. But for every video you find glorifying Alex Russo, you'll find another video completely dragging Tori Vega. And the thing is, most main characters on Disney Channel and Nickelodeon are not as despised as much as Tori Vega is, but they're also not as beloved as much as Alex Russo is. So what is it about these two characters that just has people feeling so strongly about them? Well, let's take a look at the characters' actions, because I believe that actions speak a lot louder than words. So starting off with Alex Russo, Alex has done some pretty messed up things throughout the entirety of Wizards of Waverly Place. However, none come close to what she did in Wizards of Waverly Place, the movie. After getting in a heated argument with her mom, Alex says that she hates her mom and wishes that she had never met her dad. Now, Alex says this while holding a magical wand in her hand, and the magical wand grants this wish and makes it so that her parents have never met. Now, this causes Alex and her brothers to pretty much become orphans, and if they don't reverse Alex's wish in time, then all three of them will eventually disappear. As for Tori, most people say the worst thing she's ever done was kiss Kat's boyfriend while he was still with Kat, but the reason I don't say that is because, one, Tori realized that what she did was wrong and she apologized. Two, Tori suffered the consequence of her actions when Kat punched her in the nose. So you might be asking, what is the worst thing Tori has ever done on Victorious? It was when she threw the prom. In this episode, Jade had been planning a play for months and telling everybody about it, and when the week finally comes, she can't have the play because Tori decides to throw a prom-like event called a prom on the exact same night that Jade's play was supposed to be on. Now that we're seeing both characters at their worst, let's see how both of these programs treat their main characters at their absolute worst. Throughout the entire movie, Alex's older brother Justin is constantly reminding Alex of the gravity of the situation. He's constantly reminding her of how she's in the wrong, and when they finally reverse the spell on the parents, Alex never again takes the value of having two loving parents for granted. Now with Tori, it's a different story. Even though she's completely in the wrong for throwing this prom when nobody asked her to and nobody wanted her to, the entire episode portrays her as the hero and Jade as the villain, even though Jade was the real victim in this situation. And Jade can't even stay and enjoy the prom because she ends up getting carried out by a strange hairy man in a large diaper. But what does Tori get? She gets to stay at the prom and sing Best Friend's Brother in front of everybody. Now that we've seen both of these characters at their absolute worst, let's see them both at their absolute best. Now for Alex, a few moments actually come into mind, like that time she saved the world from the Angels of Darkness, but the thing is, she never would have done that if China wasn't there to convince her to stay on the right path and save the world. There was also that time in Alex vs. Alex where Alex gave up her powers in order to save the world from Dominic. And yes, that was very noble of her, but I feel like there was one episode in particular where she was willing to give up more than just her powers. She was willing to give up her life to save others. And that episode is none other than the season 4 episode, Wizards versus Asteroids. So in this episode, the Russos find out that there's an asteroid hurtling towards the Earth, but the Russos can easily escape into the wizard world and live out the rest of their lives in peace. However, Alex is the only one who is not just satisfied chilling in the wizard world and letting everybody else die, so she urges her brothers to go with her to destroy the asteroid before it impacts the Earth. And even though all three of them could very much die in the process of trying to save the world, it's a risk they're willing to take, and the risk eventually pays off because they end up saving the day. Now, what I like about this episode is that for years you had angry parents saying that Alex was evil and a terrible role model for children, but then this episode shut them all up. It also had a nice graduation scene at the end, which kind of symbolized that Alex as a character has grown up so much. As for Tori, it was actually very hard to find her best moment. I guess you could say that the whole Birth Week episode, when she dedicated an entire song to Trina, was Tori's best moment. But the only reason Tori did that is because she didn't want to hear Trina complain about not having a good birthday present for the next 6 months. But I would say that Tori's best moment happens in the 1-hour special, Tori Goes Platinum, where Tori gets selected to be the opening act at the Platinum Music Awards. However, in the weeks leading up to the event, the producers keep making her dress in outrageous clothing and act as terrible as humanly possible in order to generate buzz, and she can't tell anybody about it. However, Beck finds out, and he convinces Tori to stand her ground and refuse to put up with this anymore. However, she ends up getting dropped from the show, and Jade replaces her. But as Jade is preparing for the show, she oversees Beck leaning in to kiss Tori. But what Tori does next is the best thing she has ever done on this entire show. She doesn't kiss him back. And because Tori doesn't kiss her friend's ex-boyfriend, which is just basic common decency, the show still rewards her by having her open at the Platinum Music Awards instead of Jade. And that in itself should just tell you why so many people love Alex and hate Tori. When Alex is at her worst, she learns from it, grows from it, and never again repeats the same mistake. And when she's at her best, she's genuinely trying to help other people with no ulterior motivation whatsoever. And as for Tori, regardless of whether she's at her worst or her best, the show always treats her like the hero.